Hello everybody, I'm here today to chat to you about how to leverage your training course to increase your employability and to avoid what we call career stagnation in the career coaching world. You're all very welcome. I want you to benefit from this. By the way, my name is Jane Downs and I'm a career coach. I've worked with people trying to navigate their career for a long time, and I have specifically worked with people also trying to work out what type of course to do and how it's going to help them move on and move forward. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to consider doing some upskilling and choosing a course, you want to make sure that you're going to benefit from it. That stands to reason. So again, my name is Jane Downs and thanks for listening today. So first of all, when it comes to planning our career or planning a course, we need to allocate time to this. We need to research, we need to investigate, we need to consider our needs in this mix. We need to consider what we're trying to walk away with from doing a course. We also want to make sure the reputation of the course is good too, and that it's going to stack up when you go out and maybe try and convert your career or change careers or upgrade your career in some shape or format. So without further ado, there's a few things we need to consider in this, why we'd even consider doing some upskilling. First of all, in this new economy of change, we do need to do things differently in our career. We need to get what we call career smart. We need to be able to develop and respond to the changing needs of the market, of the economy. We need to adapt, and we also need to educate ourselves about the things that impact our success. Which leads me to my next point here, that for change to happen, we need to have an attitude shift. We need to change our mindset, but we also need to take action. And this action might take the form of doing a course that you feel is going to add to you and is going to upgrade your career and tell the market that you mean business, or tell your future employer or your current employer that you mean business when it comes to your career. So, in terms of converting our career, we know there's no such thing anymore as a job for life. Those days are gone. It's disappearing fast. So, we need to be looking at our career from a point of view of skills and a gathering of skills. And we need to know what skills we're gaining all the time. Because if we think about a snowball, what happens to a snowball? A snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We build and build and build on a snowball if it's going down a hill. The same thing applies to our skills in our career. So we need to think about, when we look at a course, what skills you're going to get. What are you going to walk away with from a point of view of skills? Because at the end of the day, we are our skills. Of course we are our personality too. Of course we are our experience, but our skills are what matter. So you need to be looking at courses from the point of view of your skills. We know for a fact now that employers in this marketplace are looking for people with an ability to learn. Why? Because of the rate of change. People are needing to adapt, learn, get to grips with very fast new technology, new environments, new ways of doing business, new organizational structures, etc., etc. So with that, we need to show and display an ability to learn. And we can only but show that by showing a commitment to learning ourselves. That's why we choose to do courses. We choose to do courses to build on our skills and to learn and to show an employer that we have the potential to learn. And we want to learn. Learning at the end of the day also builds our confidence. So here's the thing. If we just, I suppose, think about what hiring managers look for when they're hiring. They want to see that there's clarity there in their CV, that you make sense, your CV makes sense. So when you're choosing a course, I would ask that you think about its relevance. Its relevance to what you're trying to do. If you're trying to build on a hobby, maybe keep that separate from your CV. So stick to the knitting and stick to the relevant courses that you feel are going to show and display the right message. Employees are also looking at your skills and necessary expertise. So these are the kind of things they look for when they're reviewing your CV. They also want you to quantify your experience, so to be able to give evidence of experience. And there's no better way than also showing that you've undertaken some form of training that's given you the foundation to work in this area. That training you need to sell in your CV as your skills. So what I'm going to do next with you today is we're going to chat through what I call a wheel of success for course success. So in my belief, there is 8 key things we need to consider when we're considering undertaking a course, and to walk away getting the very best from it. Because at the end of the day, we're doing this in order to benefit us. Otherwise, it's ultimately can be a royal waste of time and energy. Okay? So, without further ado, there's 8 key things we need to consider with course success. One of them is, first of all, how does this course fit into the jigsaw piece of my career? So is it going to add to that jigsaw piece, or is it something that's so left field that an employer is going to get mightily confused by it? So you need to be thinking about what this is going to give you in terms of converting and developing your career. Don't be afraid to ask potential courses and organisations and educational institutes, where do typically people go with this qualification? So they're called first destination return statistics. Where are people going with this qualification? How are they using it? You want to maybe use a career advisory service as well to get the best of this course. So you want to just ultimately figure out how it fits. Otherwise, it could affect what we call our motivation, which is the next bit. Because at the end of the day, to undertake a course, whether it's full-time or part-time, takes persistence, it takes grit, it takes sacrifice, and we know that sacrifice is a dirty word. So we want to make sure that we're motivated in doing this course. So we want to be crystal clear on the benefit of doing it. Because if we are crystal clear on the benefit of doing it, what that's going to give us is the wherewithal to follow through and keep with it. Even when the going gets tough, even if it's a part-time course and it means commuting home late in the evening on a dark, wet evening in the middle of winter, you've got to remember what it's going to give you from a motivation point of view. And this keeps us engaged and keeps us going. It's really important. We then define success for ourselves. So for some, for example, I had a client last week who said to me, Jane, for me to have success in this course is simply just to get the piece of paper. That's all I need. I need to show employers that I mean business in this. I don't need to be top of the class. I don't need to make best friends. I just simply need to get the best of the course and get that piece of paper. That's all that I need. So that person defined success for herself. Obviously we'd like a little more than that. We want people to enjoy courses too. But we have to figure out ourselves how we define success for ourselves in the course, what level you're entering at, and what you want to walk away with. For some, they do a course to build networks, to build on their networks, to build on people they're going to get to know, to open doors with lecturers, etc., etc. So there's so many different reasons why people choose courses. But for you as an individual and listening today, it's really important you define success for yourself in doing this course. The next thing here is to time manage. Because obviously life is busy for a lot of people. We all have a lot of pressures and things we need to get to. And then we add a course to the mix. And whether that's full-time or part-time, it takes commitment and it takes time. So we need to be able to handle our time really well. We don't want to be a last-minute rush on all our assignments, all our assessments, etc., etc. Because then we start to move into a place where we don't enjoy what we're doing. It's a noose around our neck and it's an energy drain. So if we're time managing and being really effective in that space, we're effectively moving through course success here to make it successful for us. So consider how much time you want to give a course. When you're looking at courses, how much time commitment you're going to give it. So, are you going to give it what it needs? And is one course over another expecting more of you? Don't be afraid to ask these questions so you know what you're dealing with, so you can then time manage through the course. The other thing here is getting visible, and whether it's an online course or a classroom-based learning, it doesn't matter. The important thing is to try to build some networks, get to know people, get to build maybe groups together, groups of expertise in an area, because at the end of the day, this will allow you build confidence in this area, immerse yourself in it and immerse yourself in the area you want to get into, and also build that visibility. Because at the end of the day, you also want to become one of the go-to people should an opportunity arise that potentially maybe the course director explains that you're the person who really stood out in the course. Or if you have another person who did the course who's in a job you'd like to be in, and a role becomes available, that they're in a position to say, look, he or she is great. So it's important to get visible, and that could be online visibility too, of course. It doesn't need to necessarily be face-to-face. So again, remember what we're trying to do here. We're building what I call a wheel of career success, and we're looking at 8 key things that I believe are really necessary for us to have success in undertaking a course, whatever that course may be. So what you might do is take out a piece of paper and very simply draw a circle and create 8 different sections and use these headings in this section. And I'll talk to you shortly about what to do with them when I talk through the end of this. The next bit in this is our self-esteem, because we want to enter a course in a good place from self-esteem point of view. Otherwise, we're unfortunately comparing ourselves to others. We're second guessing ourselves. We're considering whether we're even relevant for the course. We're thinking maybe, sure, I'm not bright enough for this. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not an extrovert. All these things we say to ourselves as human beings that sabotage us at times, and certainly can sabotage our course success. So we want to get a handle on that self-esteem. So what do I mean by that? We want to get clear about some positive tapes we can run in our head about us and this course. I'm able for this course. I'm going to give it what it needs. I'm just going to do my best. It's very simple. I had this with my own daughter last week who was doing her spelling test. I just said to her, just do your best. So she went in saying to herself, I'm going to do my best, because that's all we can do, is do our best. So make a pact with yourself to avoid negative conversations about you and your ability to study. I've seen incredible people who have never studied in their life undertake courses, and it'd be a brilliant success for them in terms of building them, their career and their self-esteem. So it's been done and it's doable again. The next thing in this mix is what I call avoiding watching our career disappointers. So what do I mean by this? If you take a look at my book here, the career book, Help for the Restless Realist, I talk about our 9 career disappointers, the kind of attitudes that can hold us back in our career, stop us in our tracks, not help us get success in our career, not help us navigate our career. These are our attitudes and our mindset. So again, it's quite similar to our self-esteem. We need to be aware of what mode we're in and where we're at. So let me give you just a very quick example. And by the way, these are available, a free toolkit on our website, www.thecareerbook.ie. Under the free toolkit section, you can look at these career disappointers yourself, and you can rate them for you as to how predominant they are in you. So let me give you an example of one. If you're in what we call the fault or ego mode, you're finding fault. So this is one that comes up a lot. So our attitude is one of fault. We're going into a course, or we're even choosing a course. So let's take going into a course, and we're finding fault before we've even commenced in day one. We're finding fault with how it's run. We're finding fault with the content. We're finding fault with the modules, the tutoring, whatever the case may be, the technology behind it, if it's e-learning based. That's not going to help us one bit give this what it needs and come out with course success and ultimately benefit your career. So it's much more important that we consider the kind of things we need to be thinking about and shift our attitude. For example, you might be what we call the vaulter ego. So the vaulter ego is another career disappointer that I've created, which is basically that you vault over your obstacles. So you don't knuckle down and chunk down your coursework. You just try and get from A to Z overnight. That's not sustainable. We need to have the grit to knuckle down and give a course what it needs. Remember, it's short term. You'll come out the other end, and you'll come out happier, more confident, and more in control. The last thing in this mix is we do need to allocate time to career planning. So if you remember, I mentioned early on in this wheel, we looked at looking at how it fits in the jigsaw piece of our career by doing a course. The same applies here, our career planning. Are we allocating time to career planning? Or are we leaving all of this to the bitter end to then decide what you're going to do with it? I'd much rather you start to put a little bit of time into career planning while you're undertaking the course, and avail of any services that are available to you to career plan. Anything that's available to you as part of your course, please use. It's going to benefit you, there's no doubt about it. So with that wheel, I asked you to potentially maybe take a piece of paper out and draw. I'd ask you to rate that wheel, because this is where it gets interesting. This becomes a live tool for you to use in getting through a course and making the best of it. Whether that's a 6-year medicine program or a very short certificate course. So you're going to look at each heading and you're going to rate for yourself out of 10 how satisfied you are in these areas. So you might look at the defining success for yourself. You might say, I haven't put enough time into that. I don't know what success is going to look like for me in this course. And you need to allocate more time to that. So you might give that a 6 out of 10. For example, I had a client last week who had done an amazing course but invested a lot of money in it and had never allocated time to the career planning aspect of it. So came to me 2 years later, having done the program, to figure out how she could use this course to her benefit. to convert her career and transition it. Really, this could have been done 2 years ago when the course was fresh and relevant. It's still relevant, but this is where career planning comes in. So the point in all of this is, do not neglect any of these areas, these headings. Never neglect them, because they're all important. Every single one of them. So let me just briefly recap what those headings are. So what we have is, we have course equals jigsaw piece. We need to understand how it fits into the jigsaw piece of our career. Number 2, we're looking at motivation. Our motivation. Are we crystal clear on the benefit of why we're doing something and why we're going to give it what it needs? The next thing is, we're going to define success for ourselves. We're going to know what the success is we're looking for in doing that course. We're going to look at time management. How are we managing ourselves through that course? How are we being effective in managing our time? How are we putting a value on that time? We're going to get visible. We're going to get known. We're going to become a go-to person, or somebody who stands out, if at all possible. And you don't have to be this amazing extrovert to do that, by the way. You can do that with some planning and a little bit of strategy. Self-esteem. We've got to keep a tabs on the kind of conversations we're having with ourselves about us and our career and our ability to undertake a course. Sure, I'm too busy. I'm never going to get to that. They don't have children like me. They don't have the financial pressures I have, etc., etc. It does us no good to think like that. We have to start thinking positively. And this is not about drilling happy thoughts into your head. I deal in the business of reality here, but it's about thinking straight and thinking logically in a way that's going to help you. Okay. The next bit in this is, as I said, my career disappointers. Have a read of them. These can help us. These can help us in navigating our career, and these can help us in choosing courses and considering our approach to doing a course. And also maybe put perspective on a course you've done in the past that didn't go terribly well for you. Just a month ago, I worked with an amazing client who did a course that was wrong for her, and it really affected her self-esteem. We got perspective on it, and she's now actually undertaking another course that is much more in line with who she is, and she's flying it. She loves it. Now, is there hard parts of the course? Of course there is. Forgive the pun, but it's great and it's going well. The last thing is the career plan. How does this impact my career plan? How does this help my career plan? Am I going to use every available resource possible for me in doing this program? The last thing I'd like to say is, make sure you're using your support network where you can. So those of you who have partners at home, family, friends, please use that support network when you're choosing to do some study and undertake a course. Why? Because you want to get them on board on this journey and bought into it, because they're going to support you ultimately in doing this. When the going gets tough at times, they're going to support you. So know who your network is. Educate them on what you're trying to do. Again, forgive the pun on that one. So, just to wrap up, I'd like to say, please allocate time to choosing a course. Know what it's going to give you. Know how it's going to benefit your career. Go in with a positive attitude and the correct mindset. And most of all, enjoy it. And at the end of the day, any upskilling is really beneficial. Of course, it makes much more sense that it's relevant to what you're looking to do and relevant to your skills and plays to your strengths. And I wish you all the very best of success. And as this picture at the back says here, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I wish you every success. Thank you.